Hello, welcome to Royally Speaking. I'm Demi J.
And I am NY Tasha. All right, so as you can see, we already got our background set up because today we already chose our topic. The wheel has already picked our topic. You can bring it up. And we can get started. Now, today's also a very special day. It is, what's today, Tuesday?
Yep.
And
it's the first.
In the Diddy trial, there have already been deliberations. The trial is over, closing arguments. And today there was a partial
verdict
from the jury. I don't know why I couldn't. It took so long to get the word out. But there was a partial verdict from the jury. And hopefully by tomorrow we'll have a full verdict. Now, we were hoping today, but they took all day and that didn't work. And I wanted to go live so bad. And we're going to go live. I hope we get to go live. This is my goal, to go live when the verdict is in. Okay, so they do have a verdict on counts 2, 3, 4, and 5. However, they don't have a verdict on count 1, which is the racketeering. Anyway, do we have a video to show?
Nope, we just have the
video. Just some.
We could describe what the info.
Okay. All right.
So if you don't know, I could tell you what each count is.
They know.
So 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they don't know specifics.
They don't know the counts. They know. You're right. Go ahead.
So count 2, which they made a decision on, is sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion regarding victim 1, who was Cassie. Convicted on that, Combs faces a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years and a maximum sentence of life in prison. So that is a hefty one by itself. But haven't we been saying that we think that, or at least you think that?
I think
so. You told me you think that means that they thought that they were guilty on all these other charges that they're only debating on that last one.
First of all, we only read off one count. Can we get to the rest of the counts?
Okay.
We'll get to that. But count 3
right.
is transportation to engage in prostitution regarding victim 1 and commercial ex workers. So who's victim 1? Cassie.
Yes, right? Victim 1 is
if
Cassie.
Convicted, Combs faces a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. Ex trafficking by force or fraud for count 2 is also victim 1. Did you say that?
You just said it, but okay,
yeah. I wasn't sure because I got to remember. These different counts all apply to different people.
Yeah.
Count 4 is the same thing, trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion regarding victim 2, who is Jane Doe.
Okay, I didn't know these were separate counts till now. Okay, got you.
If convicted, minimum of 15 years and maximum of life. And count 5, transportation to engage in prostitution for victim 2 and commercial ex workers.
Another 10 years.
Maximum of 10 years. Okay, so we got that part out. So we got 2 prostitutions. 2
so
trafficking.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So it seems like if he gets any 2 of these, he's facing a minimum of 10 overall.
Yeah, that's going to be hard. And here's another thing. So back to what you were saying about earlier, how I think that, and I'm going to tell you how I came to that. Because count 1 is racketeering. So, which is the RICO. And it is, it doesn't even say it's racketeering conspiracy, right?
It's not very detailed here, but
it just says a maximum of life, facing a maximum of life, but it doesn't tell you what they mean by RICO. Anyway, we hopefully, if you watch the show before or anybody show anything about this case, you know what racketeering is by now.
Okay, I still would like to give a definition.
You would.
So racketeering is a form of criminal activity that involves engaging in a pattern of illegal acts for financial gain, often through organized crime structures. So in this case, they're saying his enterprise, the Diddy enterprise.
Okay.
Which is him.
So back to what she tried to accuse me of. We only get to racketeering, right? if you can convict on the at least one or two of the others. I think it's like two.
Yeah.
But you have to have one of these others in order to even move to racketeering, right?
Yeah.
Or are we just talking about drugs? Because none of these charges are drugs. And if don't you have to have two acts in
Yeah,
order for it
two
to be? I
acts.
believe you have to have two acts in order for it to be racketeering.
Right. Yeah, they're definitely missing some of the acts in these charges because this is all the same thing generally.
So based on what happened yesterday and the note that they asked the judge, we did prove distribution of drugs.
Yes.
So that's proven. So distribution of drugs plus one of these
Right.
equals racketeering, right?
Mhm. Yes.
I don't think we got anywhere with Jane, and that's just my personal opinion. A lot of people believe we did get somewhere with Cassie. I'm just saying something had to be guilty in order for us to be struggling on racketeering. Because if everything was not guilty, then racketeering is just straight up not guilty. Am I right? Do I sound crazy?
I could see why you would think that.
I mean, again, I'm not a lawyer, but do I sound crazy? Because I'm trying to see how, if you're like, oh, none of this really happened, but maybe racketeering happened. How? You have to think some of that happened.
Yeah.
Okay, you just, would you dry? Yeah.
Unless, which is highly unlikely, I believe, they. Nah, never mind.
No, I want to hear this. I want to hear your rebuttal to what I had to say.
It's now I'm thinking about it. It doesn't make any type of sense.
What doesn't make any type of sense?
I was going to say unless they all were going to say not guilty on all the other charges, but yeah, then in that case they wouldn't even be looking at RICO.
Yeah, if you're not guilty on all the other stuff, how do you even reach RICO?
Right. Yeah.
Unless somehow, okay, I do have an unless I'm wrong, and somehow you can get a RICO by one. By being guilty of one thing, which is the drugs.
Okay. This is what I meant. I figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
So say like they didn't vote the same way on all. What's up? This up here. Let me get this stuff out of the way. 2 through 5, right? Mm-hmm. Say they said this one, we think he's guilty. Count 2, he's guilty. Mm-hmm. Count 3, he's guilty. Count 4, he's not guilty. Mm-hmm. Count 5, he's not guilty. Mm-hmm. So that's probably where it could still be half and half on what they could think.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, got you.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Something.
I thought you were saying all these had to be.
I was saying, no, because I said I don't think Jane Doe.
Right, yeah.
I said something up there had to go through.
Got you. Okay, I got it.
Right?
I understand it.
Yeah, okay. I have a bad habit of laughing when I'm talking because I do think everything is a little bit funny. Everything is a little bit funny. But overall, I know a lot of people have been taking this case seriously. And the things that have happened are serious. The things that they admitted to are serious. The things that we've seen on videos are serious. Everything that they're talking about is serious. I do feel bad for everybody. And I do mean everybody. I definitely feel bad for Cassie getting kicked in that hallway floor. I don't care what she said, did. If I felt bad seeing her getting stomped out like that on that floor. I also feel bad for all of Diddy's family having to sit there.
Yeah, they shouldn't have came.
All of the details of the freak offs and all of that stuff, and
they should have left his kids out of the courtroom.
The kids and the poor girls were crying. Like I would be crying. So like I don't want to know all that stuff.
Right? Yes.
And I mean, Diddy again has to be embarrassed or feel some type of way. Like my mom is sitting here watching this. Like. Everybody. Now, his mom is probably a little more, poised and mature about, as a mom, you kind of understand stuff happens. But them little girls, I know that it probably hit them the worst. Hearing all of that stuff in court. And now knowing that pretty much the world has heard all of it, it's just a lot. And I don't think all of those people were lying. Some of them were probably lying. But I don't think they all were. And that's why they got rid of all of the like stupid cases. Like, all of the stuff that really didn't make sense. Moving on to the next thing, KK. Mm-hmm. If he does get found guilty, does this mean that we will see a trial for KK?
Who was KK again?
Is it Christina Corum? She was supposed to be like the.
Oh, she was the head of. They saying that she was the one leading the organization.
Yeah, they used to call her agent or something like that. But she was like the one, like. Pretty much doing everything, doing all the work. Yeah. They said that she was basically, if you compare it to Epstein's case, he would be Ghislaine, she would be the Ghislaine Maxwell.
Mm.
Which in a way I agree, in a way I disagree, because I don't think she was going as hard and doing as much um, the way Ghislaine Maxwell was. But as far as being like pretty much a partner in this,
I need to see a paper that, of course, they don't have this, that he gave to her, or a form he gave to her with her list of job duties.
they kind of talked about
Yeah,
like
right.
all the witnesses kind of talked about her job duties. But I guess you want to see like an official
Yeah.
document saying this is what she does.
Yeah. Or audio, maybe him telling her what to do, and then some of it
Yeah.
probably being inappropriate to tell her. But
Yeah.
who knows if any of that exists for real?
Right. I'm trying to make sure I don't use all of those taboo words all those words you ain't supposed to say on YouTube, but it's hard. It's hard. It is very hard. That's why I mean they could never have had the cameras in the courtroom the way this
Yeah.
case is. All of the stuff, the discussions that happen like daily, everybody would just be getting all types of what do you call them when you get trouble? All types of hits. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
Anybody be getting all types of trouble on YouTube and certain platforms because it's a lot. It's hard to not all of these words. It's hard to not see anything.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Diddy should be free?
You want me to go into actually giving getting deep into my opinions? Personally, well, he's not free, and I believe that's for good cause.
Yeah.
Is that a good enough answer?
Sure.
I believe right now he's not free right now at the moment, and I believe that there's a good reason he's not free at the moment.
So, well, aside from this case, I'll tell you some things I believe.
Okay.
I believe that this is just, none of this is proven, but it's likely.
Zero?
Proven, no, not in the court case, but likely, yes. I do believe that Sean said that he had to take the fall for him.
You talking about the stuff you about to say? I thought you were talking about the stuff that was proved. I thought you were talking about this case.
No, that's
you
what
talking
I said.
About a different case.
That's why I said nothing about this case first.
Okay, all right. So Sean, yeah, okay.
Some other things might have happened, like he might have been putting hits out on people. I don't think he pulls triggers himself.
Yeah. He don't do nothing himself. He don't do anything himself. He barely makes phone calls for himself.
Right, yeah. So I think he gets people to do things. He's been doing that long before this court case, and stuff outside of what they say and is related to this court case. This is what I personally think, and none of it's proven in my eyes.
Okay, back to what you personally think. Since we going back and forth. All right. He wasn't at Kid Cudi's house. Mm-hmm. Did he do it from a distance? Like, did he call the shots?
I would
with Kid Cudi's car.
It's not hard for me to believe.
As a result of something he wanted to happen.
Yeah, it's not hard for me to believe that.
I do too. I do believe it has something to do with him. Yeah. You know, I mean, I don't think Kid Cudi's car just randomly blew up for some unrelated situation. Like after they were just going through all of that, right? And he called him, and I mean, I don't know.
I mean, his car didn't blow up.
Been in the house where you know,
but there was a Molotov cocktail in it. But yeah,
yes, and it was burnt. Yeah, his car had a fire. So I don't think that just. Of course, we know it didn't spontaneously combust, and we know that there was a Molotov cocktail. I don't think anybody else. Well, maybe somebody else did have beef with Kid Cudi, and if it was Cassie. But either way, I believe he had something to do with it. I don't know. I don't know how effective Cassie would have been by herself.
I know you've heard little bits and pieces of this. I believe you did. How do you feel about Cassie and her threatening voicemails? Threatening messages to people. I think she was talking to one of the male escorts.
What did she say?
I'll K-word you.
Because he had a video of her. Was he threatening? Wasn't he threatening to release a video?
Yeah.
Because did he accidentally recorded it with the escort's phone?
Yeah.
She was asked them deep questions. I believe she's capable. I mean, I believe how do I feel about it? Like, of course, I believe she did it. That was
okay. I didn't. I should have asked that question, but yeah.
I believe that she did threaten that person. I mean, not saying I would threaten somebody if they was threatening if they had a video of me and they had any inclination of releasing it. But I would be trying to do something to make sure they didn't release it, especially if I was like rich and I had a career that was on the line, like a public career.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, and I had a reputation that could have ended my career. Like I said, I wouldn't say that I would be like using those words or threats, but I would be trying to do whatever I could to make sure that person didn't do it.
I would do okay. I would say I would do whatever I could legally. I'm not
Yeah,
kidding. Just say I would do
legally.
whatever I could, but
Yeah.
yeah, I would try to make them stop. I'm not going to threaten them, but yeah,
Yeah, maybe talking some trash.
yeah.
Or maybe even being like, you don't know what I got on you. Don't I'm gonna tell on you if you tell on me type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess that could be considered a threat, but it wouldn't be a violent threat.
Right, yeah, okay. I should say I don't agree with the violent threats.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. Maybe not a violent threat, but let me have something. I don't want to ruin nobody's life unless you're trying to ruin mine.
Right, yeah.
But okay, I would try to avoid any of those situations anyway. Hopefully everybody, hopefully we would be in a situation where everybody was on the same page and everybody had the same amount to lose. And there was an understanding that we're all in this together. And that's probably a better or more ideal situation.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably, I think altogether, they would have been probably off. They probably would have been better off doing that with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
With all of the, with Diddy in general, with his girlfriends, with Jane Doe, with everybody. If it's kind of like we're all in this together, we're all on the same team. We all got this, we all got something to lose. We need to all stick together. They probably would have been in a much better situation. But sometimes Cassie, I don't know about Mia, but they get to the point where they start feeling like they're being manipulated or feeling like victims, and now they don't feel like they're on the same team. Especially with Cassie feeling like she wanted all of them feel like they wanted more of a relationship, and it's like we clearly don't want the same thing here. You want to do one thing, I want to do something else. So
okay.
Maybe I spoke too much on that. I don't want to be running. I don't want to be babbling on and on and on forever. So, especially about that. But I do think that I'm going to add this. A lot of people are not taking into account how emotional women are. Like, women think very emotionally. Even though I know a lot of people are trying to say like it's a money game, it's a numbers game, and Cassie just did it for money. I don't even think Cassie thought about the money till after she married somebody else. And men might be thinking about, I think she was just tore up. And, maybe at some point she realized she should be getting some money from it. But I don't think she came to this court case for money.
Yeah, she was. She didn't mean, well, she was forced to come here.
Yeah. But I guess she was forced to tell the truth too. But
yeah,
it's just like, so she didn't have anything to gain from this. She was pregnant. Already moved on with her life and already paid. What was left for her to do? This was obligation.
Right.
You know what I mean? And just like, and it was like, yeah, she got a big payday. I don't even understand how her big payday got anything to do with her testifying now.
Right, yeah. Maybe she wanted to see him suffer a little, but that's it.
Well, maybe she wanted to, maybe she calls it justice.
Justice, yes.
But,
yeah.
You never know. But I would just say, no, from beginning to end, women are very emotional. And if she wants to be a girlfriend, it's gonna be bad. I'm serious. Like, if she really wants to be a girlfriend and you treating her like she's your girlfriend, but you ain't making her your girlfriend, it's not gonna be good.
Well, they was the girlfriends. They
especially
just had to
really young girls.
It was the girlfriends, but they just had to do extra stuff being the girlfriend.
Well, I mean, they was being treated more like property, I would say, than girlfriends.
But that's how he treats his girlfriends.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
And he puts them in houses and stuff too. Though.
I mean, they do get the financials, perks, and I guess all of the the stuff that makes you feel important, I guess. Important. But what about the stuff that makes you feel special? I don't know.
I can't say nothing else.
I don't know. Because it's hard. Because it could go either way. Everybody could be right. Everybody could be wrong. Whoever's saying everybody's just doing it for, coming up here, stating their case because they want some type of clout, some type of money. Everybody except Cassie could be really doing that. But Jane Doe is still getting her bills paid. I don't know. It's so hard.
Yeah,
so hard for me to just be like, everybody just wants to get paid. It's so hard. But I
Or
can see it with some of them.
yeah, I don't. Even if that was the case, I still wouldn't think it was just that they wanted to get paid. A lot of them are mad about things that happened. I forgot the person's name that I'm thinking of, but it seems like they were. It was an former employee, but it seems like they were mostly mad about the way things turned out in the end.
Either way, I'm sticking to. I think women are just emotional.
Yeah,
and it was just.
But there was some men up there complaining about him too, though.
Yeah, it's hard to read a woman's emotions. The men emotions, because I'm about to say, just don't come for me. Like, I don't know. Like, Diddy got some power.
Yeah.
I ain't here trying to start no trouble. I don't want no smoke at all. I don't want no smoke about nothing. I just, my opinion is that women are emotional. That's it. But I do think that with this case, some of those charges might be coming down as guilty. I don't know why they're having so much trouble on the RICO. It could be because of that one juror who don't want to follow the directions that they mentioned. That they came out yesterday and said there was one juror who didn't want to follow, who's basically, I guess, refusing to follow directions. And they sent a note to the judge, and the judge was like, "No, you need to follow the directions and go back and finish deliberating." Actually, today they got instructions for tomorrow to not come back to the courtroom at all, to go straight into deliberations as soon as they get up there. And like the judge wants this to be over. It's about to be Wednesday, and we are approaching the 4th of July. And originally that was the day he wanted it to end. So I don't need to keep this one on. We are approaching the deadline. We're not really deadline, because it's like they kind of keep saying they don't want them to rush, but you really want them to rush because you're trying to get out of here by the 4th of July. Mm-hmm. But they came back fast with all of those rushes. I wonder how this is gonna be crazy. You think they're gonna stay hung? The judge does not want a hung jury. He wants them to keep going and try.
No, I think at this point, since this is the last thing left, yeah, it's definitely going to be done before the end of afternoon Thursday.
Do you think it's the one juror holding everything up? He did say he was biased.
Mostly, I think so.
That is the juror who said he was biased. Well, he didn't say.
Okay. They believe he's biased.
Yeah. He didn't say he was biased, but they believe he indicated that
he has some biases.
Right, he indicated that he has some biases. So, what are we doing? What do we think is going to happen? Do you think he could get everybody to sway his way, whatever his way is? Or do you think it's like half and half already? Like half people like, yeah, this is a RICO, and the other half are like, ain't no way this is a RICO. The country is like, ain't no way that half and half. Like, so half is like, this is definitely a RICO. Other half is like, ain't no way. You got people saying that again, with 2 of the charges, it's definitely a RICO, right? Mm-hmm. Then you got people saying, well, everybody, and I believe this too, being a freak is not a crime, but some stuff is a crime. Distributing drugs, we learned yesterday, is a crime. And like when I say we learned yesterday, because
then we learned what this distribution was.
We learned what distribution was. So we learned that if you just give people drugs, whether they want it or not, it is a crime.
Whether it's free or not, it's a crime.
It can be free. Yes. I'm sure that applies to prescription drugs, non-prescription drugs, illegal drugs, all types of drugs.
Yeah.
And I believe that means if I go to the store, buy some Flonase, or, I need some Flonase, by the way, and then I come back to the house and give it to my brother and be like, here, take this. That might be illegal.
Is Flonase a drug? Well, I guess it would have to be a drug,
it got
too.
A drug in it, right? It got something in it. All right. What if it's like Advil?
No, because it's not a drug.
It's not a drug?
I think it needs to be a certain type of drug, I would say. It needs to be a hallucinogen, I think.
Narcotic?
Yeah, narcotic, hallucinogen, something that's mind altering.
Okay, all right, you say that, right? But what is fentanyl?
Definitely mind altering.
Isn't that just a painkiller?
No, it's not. It's not just a painkiller.
I thought it was used for pain. Morphine is used for pain. Oxycodone. Like, see, trying to me, we could just go around giving that stuff to people?
It's not what you're saying it is.
All right, what's fentanyl? What is it used for?
It could be used for pain, but it's an opioid.
What is an opioid? I don't know why. I have this habit where I just always push the microphone button and just ask with my voice. She always types out her questions.
Okay, so it interacts with the nerve cells specifically by binding opioid receptors on nerve cells to reduce pain.
It's a painkiller.
It's a painkiller.
A nerve cell is what causes your pain,
and it also affects the mind.
How does it affect? I know that it affects the mind, but that doesn't mean that's what it's used for. It's used to kill pain.
Okay, I'm saying what it does is what it can do is what makes it possible illegal to distribute. It's something that if you get too much of it, you could die from, pretty much.
I believe any type of drug, especially prescription drugs, especially high dosages, even if they only use for pain,
right,
can be illegal to distribute.
Prescription. You said Advil. That's not prescription.
Advil, but I mean, like, it's a painkiller, which makes it does make it a drug though, because it's
yeah, I think that's what I said. I think it's only those type of drugs that are used that are prescription.
I don't know. AI might know the answer to this.
And what is the question?
The question is it illegal to give somebody Advil? To distribute Advil? Of course, there's
what is
drugs
that
you get on the street, like street drugs. We already know street drugs is the main problem.
Your depression medication, no, it would be something I would think would be like that. If you get depression medication.
Molly, ecstasy, all that type of stuff.
It says distributing Advil itself, which is an over-the-counter OTC medication containing ibuprofen, is generally not illegal. However, distributing any medication, even OTC like Advil, without adhering to certain guidelines and regulation could be potentially become an issue.
Okay, so I don't know the guidelines or whatever.
It probably can't be mixed with something else, I'm assuming. That would be
well, you definitely can't be forcing it on nobody,
right? Yeah.
So if I be like, but so you definitely can't give your prescriptions to people. I already know that, right? Because prescriptions are made in doses based on what the person needs.
Right. Yeah.
What about giving it to kids? Well, I guess you can. You have to administer certain drugs to kids. So
right. Yeah.
I guess you could give kids like children's Motrin and stuff like that. So that wouldn't be illegal.
Yeah, I would say OTC would be your safest bet. OTC? I mean, not OTC.
Over the counter, yeah. And that's
something you don't need a prescription for.
Yeah, something you don't need a prescription for. And of course, we know street drugs would be illegal.
Right. Yeah.
So what did they have? They had
pink cocaine.
Pink powder. And not just that, it was something else that keeps you up all the time.
Ecstasy, something like ecstasy.
It was something that keeps you from falling asleep, like you stay up for like days, I guess. Like the thing that was making them not go to sleep, like make them stay up. Anyway, they had nicknames for all the stuff anyway. But do you have any other opinion about this situation?
No.
I do want to try to go live tomorrow when the verdict is in. But
on the last thing I said from other people I've been watching seems like in the courtroom, people that sat in the courtroom for these days while they were delivering said that Diddy's team looked like they were scrambling and scraping. But it's just
scrambling and scraping. That came. Hold up. Where did I see? That came from was it a movie?
That came from a Diddy clip where he was talking. Well, that's where I seen it from, a Diddy clip where he's talking to Jadakiss or something.
I think it was a Diddy. Scrambling and scraping. Oh gosh, there was a point, but that was when the jury came back with a question.
Right, yeah.
And then wasn't that the question when he said that one juror wasn't listening?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, they came back with a note or whatever, and then like they I don't know. I want to be there because they said the last few days have been like dramatic in the courtroom, so I wish I could be there. Sounds like a lot of fun, actually. Like not fun, but excitement. It sounds like it was really exciting. Even when you see like the footage from outside the courtroom. Why didn't we go there? We ain't gonna talk about why we didn't go there. But anyway, when you think about like the footage from outside, it's like everybody's there. There's tents up. It's like there's vendors outside. All of these like streamers everywhere. And then you see like all of these people, like they keep catching like the family going in and out of the courtroom. There's just something happening. It's New York, so I'm not surprised about police and ambulances, but people from like other states were surprised when they saw like police and ambulances like all the time, like that ain't got nothing to do with that. Was just New York being New York. That was just what it is. It should have probably been more. I think the Diddy trial is kind of lessening the ability of the passage of traffic through that area, so it's probably not as much as it would normally be, and it's probably not like a bunch of as much. You know how like homeless people be like hanging outside and all of that. They probably don't have as much of that either because of all of the other people there. But I know people selling water, whatever, t-shirts, anything. I know they out there killing it. Because that is a place to go to find some people who need stuff like water. And it's hot. Anyway.
All right, we're going on for a while.
I know. There was a time in the middle of Diddy trial where we were like exhausted and did not want to talk. And now I can't stop talking. And I don't want to talk myself into a lot of annoying mess. I don't want to talk myself into that, and then I gotta clean up later. Don't come for me, nobody. Nah, I actually do want y'all to leave comments though. Leave comments. Say anything. Disagree, please, because I know y'all disagree. But I want to hear it though. I want to hear everybody's opinion. I want to read it. It's gonna be read. I want to know all your opinions. Anyway, we're gonna try. Oh my gosh, we gotta get this out tonight because tomorrow's gonna be a whole different situation. All right. Let's end this so we can move on with life.
All right. Once again, I'm Demi J.
I'm NY Tasha.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching Royally Speaking.